Devi ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Puranam Amalam, Yant Vaishnavanam Priyam. Reading from the Canto 4, Chapter 8, Text 14. No, 15. Matu. This is from yesterday. $14. Okay. Okay. I'm looking one number in different verse. It's the same. This is a Maitreya Vacha Matu Sapatnya Saduruktividaha Shvasan Rusha Danda Hatoyatahai Hitva Mishantam Pitaram Sanoto Vacham Jagama Matu Prarudan Sakasham. Let's try a different way. Maitreya Vacha Matu Sapatnya Saduruktividaha Shvasan Rusadanda Hato Yatahi Hitva Mishanam Pitaran Sanavacham Jagamamatu Prarudan Sakasha. Ladies. Maitreya Vacha. The great sage Maitreya said, Matuhu, of his mother, Sapatnya, of the co-wife, Saha, he, Durukti, harsh words, Vidaha, being pierced by, Shvasan, breathing very heavily, Rusha, out of anger. Dandahataha, struck by stick. Yata, as much. Ahihi, a snake. Ahihi is a snake, if you didn't know. Hitva, giving up. Mishantam, simply looking over. Pitaram, his father. Sanavacham, silently. Jagama, went. Matuhu, to his mother. Prarudan, weeping. Sakasham, near. Translation. The sage Maitreya continued. My dear Vidura, as a snake, when struck by a stick, breathes very heavily, Dhruva Maharaj, having been struck by the strong words of his stepmother, began to breathe very heavily because of great anger. When he saw that his father was silent and did not protest, he immediately left the palace and went to his mother. So there's no purport. I will read another verse, another 2 verses. Just translation. When Dhruva Maharaj reached his mother, his lips were trembling in anger, and he was crying very grievously. Queen Suniti immediately lifted her son onto her lap, while the palace residents, who had heard all the harsh words of Suruchi, related everything in detail. Thus Suniti also became greatly aggrieved. So still no purport. Text 16. This incident was unbearable to Suniti's patience. She began to burn as if in the forest fire, and in her grief she became just like a burnt leaf and so lamented. As she remembered the words of her co-wife, her bright lotus-like face filled with tears, and thus she spoke. There's a very dramatic performance here. This harsh words of Suruchi, and the Dhruva was struck by this and immediately he was breathing like a snake. Anybody seen snake breathing heavily? I actually have, one person once caught a snake, and snake was like, this sound is very, very scary sound. Like, so this is how young boy Dhruva, 5 years old, was breathing. And then because he's a small child, he could not take a sword and kill everybody as Kshatriyas will do immediately. He started crying out of frustration, and out of anger and frustration he sought shelter to his mother, because he was a child after all. Purport. When a man is aggrieved, he feels exactly like a burnt leaf in a forest fire. Suniti's position was like that. Although her face was as beautiful as a lotus flower, it had dried up because of the burning fire caused by the harsh words of her co-wife. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militamyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadavayam Tadati Svapadantika. So interesting. Some very, to repeat, very dramatic situation. This is actually the situation when young Dhruva, boy, very young, 5 years old, experienced his, as we call it, religious conversion. He converts to become a religious person in this particular situation. His mother, you'll see it tomorrow, the verse, but his mother actually told him, she's right, you cannot be, the king likes her better than me, and therefore the only way so you can get is to actually do austerities, pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore in next life you can become rightful, heir of the king. And so this is the point, the one point when Dhruva somehow, although he didn't know at this moment, he was looking after he wanted to have a kingdom bigger than his father's, and we know the story. This was the point when Dhruva actually turned to Krishna, turned to God. So each person in this world who is at some point when we turn to Krishna, we turn to God. We are from as we said, non-believer to the believer. Meaning of non-devotee to a devotee. And regarding this breathing heavily, I was just thinking there, I actually researched a little bit other people who breathe very heavily. In our Shastras, Arjuna was breathing very heavily. But his heavy breathing was different breathing. He was breathing very heavily because he remembered Krishna. They asked him, what about Krishna? And he became very morose and he started breathing breathing very heavily, remembering Krishna. Another breathing very heavily in the Nectar Devotion, it is described by Lalita Devi. When she remembers Krishna, her breathing was so heavy that fire was almost fire, her breath was so fiery because by burning in separation from Krishna. So I was just thinking there are different kinds of breathing heavily according to different kind of moods, different kinds of situations. In this situation, Dhruva's breathing heavily was breathing heavily out of this basic idea of anger. He was just angry, and that's it. This was just angry. Later on, when Dhruva went to the forest and met Narada Muni, of course, as we know, accidentally appears. Whenever there's somebody become interested in Krishna, Narada Muni somehow is there. So he appeared also in the forest and he asked Dhruva, where are you going? And he explained the situation. He said, oh, you are too young. You're too young to go to the forest. It's very dangerous. There's dangerous animals. You should go back. So again, this is all of us who came to Krishna consciousness or are coming to Krishna consciousness at the moment experience this particular situation. We have some either dramatic event that make us think like, what about life? What about death? I was first start thinking about death when I was discussing with my mother once. She wanted me to get a job. I was 18 or something. I said, I just finished the school, I'm not going to get a job. And so we were arguing, and I said, what do I need job for? For what? She said, you need a job because if you don't have a job, you will not have money. And I said, so what if I don't have money? She said, if you don't have money, you will not have anything to eat. I said, so what if I don't eat? And, puffed up, 18 years old. And I said, so what if I don't eat anything? She said, if you don't eat, then you will die. And I said, so what if I die? It's puffed up, don't do this at home, But, and after this, we discussed, and I apologized later, it was too much. But then I thought, after this, I started thinking about this. So what if I die? So what will actually happen if I die? Because before that, I didn't even know, not even remotely thought about what will happen when I die. Or 18. Yeah. Who is 18 years old? Who is teenager thinking about? Unless you're listening Gothic music, this is a different story. But when we distributed books, actually in the parking lots with the Gothic band, just mantra was, "Do you believe in life after death?" They're like, "Oh yeah, here's the book. It's the second chance." So the point is that I started thinking about this. What if I die? What will happen when I die? What will actually happen? What is the, and then what is the difference between life and death? This is the even bigger question. I'm supposedly living now, and death is something else that I don't know. What is actually death? What is life? So this kind of ideas triggered in me. I started reading all kinds of books and so on and so forth, and some other events also added up to it. That when I encounter Srimad Bhagavatam, it just makes so much sense. Oh, death is explained, life is explained, my identity is explained, my freedom is explained, everything was explained, and you just, these are all answers I was looking for since some years. So this is how every person encounters this kind of situation. Somebody is like in this dramatic situation, somebody is less dramatic, somebody just is very inquisitive. From the Bhagavad Gita, there's 4 types of people who come to Krishna consciousness. One who is inquisitive, wondering, what is this? What's going on? What is this world? And one who is very distressed. Most of the people in this world, they join because they're distressed. They may say whatever, but mostly distress is the cause. Unhappiness, deep unhappiness and distress. And then we have those who are actually searching for the absolute truth. As I mentioned, like last week, one boy in South India, he was going to normal school, and when he was 9 years old, he told his father, I don't want to this school. I don't want to go to this school anymore. I want to go to the Sanskrit school to learn the Shastras. 9 years old. And his father said, okay, what can I do? He was very adamant. So obviously this is not from this life. This is just continuation from the past life. But some people are searching for the absolute truth. And he studied all the scriptures, the Shankaracharyas. He read everything. When he was 15, he was like super scholar, the Vedanta and everything. So, and some people are just, what is the other one? Inquisitive? Some people want to some material gain. We know in one country, which I don't want to mention, many people also join because they think, if I join ISKCON, it's a good position, I may be able to go to America or whatever the reason. Sorry? Or somewhere more. Or people join just because it's really, people join also looking for a family. I'm kind of lonely, and there's some people there you talk to, and it's kind of nice. So different kinds of reasons, but the point is that we all have come to this point to actually search for the absolute truth. The reason why Dhruva reacted like this, another thing I wanted to say is that when we to encounter Krishna, then there's a test. Then there's usually test. My test was I went to the temple, I read a book, and I went to the temple and I knocked at the door, they opened the door, I said, I want to join you. And they were like, hold on a minute, who are you? They don't never seen me before, I never came to the temple. And I said, no, you cannot join. And I said, come on, I'm giving myself, surrendering. Prabhupada says, surrender to Krishna. And they said, no, we don't know you. I said, okay, Haribol. I went back home and I said, forget about this, I'm not going to practice this thing. They're not nice people. They're not interested in me. No. And then after like 2 days, I was like, man, I have to read again. So I was reading again, and I went to the temple again. A little more humbler attitude. And they accepted me even after some time. So Krishna gives tests. And after that came another test and another test. Of course, we know in Krishna consciousness movement that no end to tests, basically. Our whole life is one big test. As Kripa Sindhu Prabhu was saying about the person told him, whatever he told you. The lady, no, who are you? What are you? So it's a test, how to actually react. Would you react like Dhruva Maharaj or would you react something else? Yeah. So, and Dhruva Maharaj, when Narada Muni appeared, Dhruva Maharaj told him, my dear Lord, I am actually, thank you for your advice and everything. You're right, but I am just an impudent Kshatriya. I have no patience. I have no interest in this, what you just told me, all these nice things. I have in my I want to do things, and I want to do them right now. This is a Kshatriya mentality. So, and that Dhruva Maharaj explained, just like a earthen pot is broken, my heart is pierced, and that's it. There's no more. This is a super Kshatriya mentality. I also looked a little bit into Mahabharata. So many examples of the Kshatriyas getting angry for simple, insignificant reason. One little thing, they just jump out and immediately take the swords. But so this is the materialistic quality. Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, has brought this knowledge of the Krishna consciousness to the West in order to educate people to come to the higher level, and level of Brahmana. And this is something that every person has to work on. Prabhupada says, in America, we have practical experience of incompatibility of the Brahminical and Kshatriya temperaments. The American boys who have simply been trained to be Shudras are not to fit to fight in battle. That was at that time Vietnam War. And they were sending young boys to war, and there was, the stories, many become psychologically damaged and this and that. And the reason is, Prabhupada says, they're trained to be Shudras. And therefore they're not fit to fight. They're not fit to be Kshatriyas. So Prabhupada says, therefore, when they call to join the military, they refuse because they don't have the Kshatriya spirit. And this is the cause of great dissatisfaction in society. And then Prabhupada continued that the boys do not have a Kshatriya spirit does not mean they're trained in Brahminical qualities. They're trained Shudras, and therefore in frustration they're becoming hippies. However, Prabhupada says, as soon as they enter Krishna consciousness movement been started, they are trained to meet the Brahminical qualifications, even though they have fallen to the lowest conditions of Shudras. So Prabhupada basically explained his strategy. His strategy was to convert people to come to the Brahminical platform. And the whole Hare Krishna movement is geared towards this direction, how to acquire Brahminical qualities. So therefore, temple life, we said sometimes, temple, I don't like temples, or I'm not a temple devotee, or nowadays very popular said, I am, spiritual but not religious. This is some institution. But Prabhupada make these institutions in order not that we can establish ourselves to be prominent, religious group, but to actually give opportunity to people to come to these temples and to put themselves in the Brahminical platform. This is the only reason. And that's why we have a deity worship. Deity worship is not meant for this age. It's a holy name. We can just chant. We can live in the cave like Haridas Thakur and just chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And that's it. That's enough. But for the people in general, the temples are very much needed. The temple life. Because the temple life is geared in such a way, Prabhupada instituted such a way, as he called it, ISKCON sandwich. ISKCON sandwich. Sandwich in the morning, sandwich in the evening, meaning morning program, evening program, in between some service. It's like a sandwich. Bread in the evening, bread in the morning, and in between some service. So this is the manufactured in such a way so that we can actually come to the platform of goodness. What is the platform of goodness? In the Mahabharata, Dharmascha Satyamcha, Damas Tapascha, Atmas Saryam Hrishtitikša Nusya, Yagyascha Danam, Chadriti Shrutamcha, Vratani na Dvadasha Brahmanasya. A Brahmana must be perfectly religious, number one. So if you want to be a devotee of Hare Krishna movement, we have to be religious. We have to believe in Krishna. We have to believe in God. I actually met one person who told me, I know I practice so many, but I'm not sure if I die, Krishna will actually be there. He was not sure. I was thinking, wow, this is amazing. You are practicing so many years, but you actually do not believe. So we have to be religious. We have to believe that Krishna exists. This is not so easy to believe that Krishna exists. But when you read Krishna book, when you read, some other shastras, when you see Krishna's amazing powers in the Bhagavad Gita, the universal form, and you think, is this possible? At Schneidhausen. Haribol. Krishna is unbelievable. And we are leaving now, you see, this is terrible. Actually, it is described that sometimes in the Goloka Vrindavan, by the grace of Yoga Maya, all 6 seasons change in one day. Imagine, I cannot conceive this in 6 seasons. It's a little bit snowing, a little bit sun, a little raining. So the Krishna is so inconceivable, Krishna is so amazing that it's not easy to believe in it. Like, you read Krishna book, Krishna and Balaram jumped from the mountain, how many kilometers tall, And then one devotee asked, but Srila Prabhupada, I'm reading this when what is his name? Yavana. Kala Yavana. When Kala Yavana was chasing Krishna Balaram, they climbed the mountain and he set the mountain on fire, and then Krishna Balaram jump over the fire down. How many thousands of miles, like kilometers. And then devotee asked Prabhupada, where is this mountain situated? Because this mountain is supposed to be in the Gujarat area, because this is where this event took place. Chor Ranchor, yes. Ranchor Krishna. So Prabhupada's a little angry and he said, in the sky. In the sky. The mount is in the sky. But because I was thinking about this event, where is this really, when you look all of these, where all these palaces of gold or whatever, or all these Hastinapur, these palaces and all these wonderful things, Dwarka, where is Dwarka? And but all these things, we have to actually somehow or other believe in it. This is a not easy concept. The Krishna, Supreme Personality of God, and maintaining the universe, creating the universe, is at the same time he appears as a small baby. This is a very difficult concept to take. Very difficult concept. We think, oh, a little baby, but it's actually Krishna. In his body contains the whole material universes, the whole spiritual universes. And then the most, for me, in this moment, most difficult to conceive is who is Krishna? Where is he? Location of Krishna. This is very difficult for me to understand. Because when you have an idea, this book is located in some space. This book is here in this room. So this planet Earth is located in the universe. Universe is located, but where is Krishna? Because everything is contained in Krishna. There's nothing outside of Krishna. Everything is contained in his body. So his body is actually everything. This is like really mind-boggling to understand. So to understand Krishna is not so easy. Actually, it's impossible. When Lord Brahma was trying to steal the boys in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then Krishna, he said, remade these boys from his own body, and Brahma finally realized this was a mistake, whatever, and Brahma was shocked. How is this possible? But Brahma was even more shocked when Krishna was leaving the body, leaving the earthly planet in the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam. Krishna exhibited such a mystic power that Brahma was confused. Even Lord Brahma, who knows everything in this universe, he could not understand Krishna. So we have to, as Hare Krishna devotees, to be religious. And religious means to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, person who is all-pervading first. Andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam. In every atom. There was this idea once, one bhakta in America, and he was, after 7 days, he said, I'm leaving this Hare Krishnas. I'm leaving you, Hare Krishnas. I said, okay, it's a free world, you can go, but where would you go? He said, I'm going to the place where there's no Krishna. I said, well, we can discuss about this, So I talked to him and, I explained to him that you can actually, you cannot go anywhere there's no Krishna because Krishna is everywhere. And he was really, and then, of course, he stayed and became a Sankirtan devotee, indeed. But religious, to accept this, that Krishna is everywhere. We are now chanting our rounds. As Prabhupada says, we finish 16 rounds, drop the beat back, now I can do any damn thing I want. I'm done my 16 rounds. Or in the same mentality, we share Hare Krishna, we have a chadar and all these obeisances. Then we go to our own rooms and we close and we say, this is my kingdom. Nobody knows what am I doing behind the doors. And even more, you turn this computer on, ting, and Google is shining. And you can do any search you want from your mind. Anything comes to your mind. How to create a robot from, anything. Anything you want, How to influence people's minds. Anything you want. Any damn thing. So this is the sign that we actually do not believe fully that Krishna is all-pervading. Because if we know that Krishna is all-pervading, and the Srimad Bhagavatam it is described there are 12 types of witnesses. The demigods, the directions, and so on. So they're all witnessing whatever we do at all times. At all times. We were reading recently about Yamaraj. The Yamaraj is actually on an equal level in the sense that he enters everybody's heart. Imagine a person. And he actually knows everybody's thoughts, everybody's activities throughout their whole life of everybody. Oh, this is mind-boggling. One person, Yamaraj. So when we come in front of Yamaraj, we die. Yamaraj, there's nothing now. I hope he will not know what I did in 94. Friday evening, whatever. He knows everything. Not just that he knows everything, but his his people, they also know everything. What is his name? Chandragupta, his secretary. He says, Chandragupta, turn on my computer. Tick, 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 tick. It's not really, but it's a transcendental, subtle computer. And Chandragupta says everything, whatever you have done, and you see it yourself, you think like, oops, I could not hide. So we cannot hide from Krishna. So meaning that religious means I have to know Krishna, I have to accept Krishna, that every step I make, Krishna is there. Every thought I have, Krishna hears. It says that Krishna, in Bhagavatam says that Krishna sees from every angle, whatever we do. Krishna sees everything, Krishna knows everything. So being religious, to being a Brahmana, I said Brahmana must be perfectly religious. So meaning that we always have to know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Prabhupada says many times. He's the Supreme Person. And therefore, Brahmana cannot speak lies. Because how can I speak lie? Krishna knows that I'm lying. What kind of Brahmana I am? So let's see the next, what is in this verse. The Brahmana must be religious, he must be truthful. So meaning, Prabhupada says the Brahmanas cannot lie. We know this famous story with Yudhishthira Maharaj, that he could not lie. Imagine, I have not met, unless, I don't know, maybe you've met somebody who never lied in their life. Do you know anybody who never lied? Never. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm saying, never lied, never. I mean, this is, how do you never lie? As kids, we always lie, at least, did you do? No, I didn't. I don't know. I didn't do it. Even Krishna, did you eat earth? No, I didn't. They're lying. The boy, everybody said, Bala, they were pointing the finger. Krishna ate dirt. He said, no, I didn't. Even Krishna, But never lied. Here's him. He must be truthful, and he must be able to control his senses. Oh, this is a difficult one. But it's not only that difficult. The difficult is to be truthful. The difficult is to be perfectly religious. Controlling the senses, vacha vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam, udarapasta vegam. These are the senses which we have to control. Sometimes you see somebody speak, uncontrolled vacha vegam. You have to control your speech. How many times I say something and I said, just don't say it, don't speak, don't speak. To control the speech. Because if we control the speech, then we can control the manasa, mind, and this is connected. Jiva vegam, the tongue, what do we eat, what do we speak, and at the end, genitals and belly, as is described by Srila Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Upadeshamrita, Nectar of the Instructions. So, then now becomes even worse. He must execute severe austerities. Hari Hari Bol. Severe austerities. We know in the Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, the severe austerities are described. Also in the 4th canto of Prithu Maharaj, when he became Vanaprastha, he went to the forest in the winter time and he submerged himself in the river up to his neck all night. Ooh, nowadays we have this Wim Hof, they're submerging themselves in this icy rivers, but all night, that's a little bit, And in the summertime, surrounded by 4 fires around and then buried in the hot sand. You know how hot sand is in the summer? If you've been to India, hot sand, Puri in summertime is, and you bury yourself and 4 fires. And during the rainy season, standing on the rain, just exposed to the rain over. These are heavy austerities. And also, in the 7th canto described the life of a Vanaprastha. The Vanaprastha lives in the forest, he eats whatever he finds, or she, whatever, they go together, husband and wife. And they eat sometimes dry leaves, sometimes the tree bark. Not exactly, palatable dishes. And then on the end, they said the vanaprasthas are so emaciated, they're just bones and skin. And on top of it, at the end of this, what do? They jump into the fire, By his power, he makes the fire and they jump into the fire. I was thinking, wow, this is like no end to it. You already suffered this whole thing and then in the end you jump into the fire. And the reason for this is not that we torture ourselves, we like Hare Krishnas, But the point is that all these austerities are meant to realize you are not the body. To realize, the duty of a vanaprastha is to realize the difference between the body and the soul. The sannyas duty is higher because sannyas is supposed to understand what the difference between the body and the soul is, so therefore he engages in the philosophical pursuit, studying Upanishads and Vedanta and so on. So this is now severe austerities. And then another quality of a Brahmana, he must be detached. Detached. I'm not attached. We had one Sankirtan devotee and people said, maybe I'll take a book. And he said, I don't care, I'm not attached. And the person is like, people don't know what attached means. Attached means attachment. We have a different, for us, Hare Krishna's, the attachment means something else. And the Brahmacharya said, no, I'm not attached. You can take book or not. And he was like, okay. But detached means, as is described there, the one is not elated when something great happened to him. People win lottery or somebody gives you very brand new sari and you're like, phew, very nice. And also, on the other hand, somebody is not fried, as we call it in ISKCON, but something bad happens to us. Devotee is always depending on Krishna. It is described, the difference, Prabhupada describes, the difference between the demigods and the demons is when demigods, in any difficulties, they turn towards Krishna. They immediately go to the ocean of milk and they pray to Vishnu. Please save us, we cannot breathe with these austerities Hiranyakashipu is doing. Always turning towards Vishnu. And the demons are not. Prabhupada says, this is the difference. He says, the devotee is always bothering Krishna. So we are bothering Krishna. My dear Lord, I want to get married, This is always the same story. The brahmacharini, unmarried woman, comes to the Lord and, my dear Lord, I want to marry and I particularly like this such and such brahmachari, Please do something, I'm your servant. And then the brahmachari comes 10 minutes later, my dear Lord, I want to stay brahmachari. Please give me strength to and the Lord, what would he like? How would the Lord react to it? But in both situations, it's nice because we are bothering the Lord. We are bothering the Lord. We accept something, there is something higher than us. We accept when we are sick. Of course, we don't pray, my dear Lord, please cure this boil what I have on my leg, But we just say, please, Lord, for your service, I would like to be healthy. If you don't like to be healthy, this is also great because this is your desire. But that would be nice if I would be healthy. When Prabhupada was very sick, we know some devotees, they said, Prabhupada, what should we do? And Prabhupada said, hold the kirtan and to pray for Prabhupada's health. So it's not like that we just stand there, we don't pray for anything, Krishna will. No, Krishna is a person. And it's nice to bother Krishna. So please bother Krishna. My dear Lord, I want this. Or I like, not like I want, can you, as famous, give me house by the sea, color TV, Jai Jagadish Hari. We don't pray this way. We pray in a sense, for your service, I would like to have this. Prabhupada, when he arrived in Boston Harbor, he prayed this famous prayers and he said, my dear Lord, you brought me here. And these people are looking so impious, How would I preach to them? I don't know. I have no quality, I have no power. But if you like, please empower me. So he bothers Krishna. So bother Krishna ki jai. Another one, even more, now becoming worse and worse, the qualities of Brahmana. Another one is to be humble. Wow. To be humble, we recite every morning, Trinada Pisunichena Tarora Pisahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadhari. This is very great enigma, how to actually apply this verse in our lives. Very, very difficult. What is humility? Is it humility just to walk around and say, "Oh, Prabhu, please, give some donation. I'm very," What is the humility? There's so many different aspects of humility. First of all, humility means that we expect nothing for ourselves, like nothing. As we see Haridas Thakur, even people who are beating him, he said, "Oh, I'm sorry that I'm not dying." Imagine somebody beats you and you say, "I'm really sorry that." And they said, "But if you don't die," the Muslim Spartan soldiers, they said, "If you don't die, the king will get us killed." Our Muslim zamindar, whatever they call it at that time, he'll kill us. And Haridas said, "Okay, if just to protect you, I will die." So he just died. This is humility. For devotee, in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, it's not so easy. Sorry to say, not so easy to be humble, because we exposed to all different winds of unfortunate winds. But let's take one very important aspect of devotional humility is to stay in the Hare Krishna movement. This is not easy. Not easy. 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. The Prabhupada disciples, 50 years. How many? 50 years. This is extraordinarily difficult. Just to be around. As yesterday, the Maharaj and Prabhu were talking on the lecture. What is the happiness? No happiness. What is the success? And I just remember Jayananda, famous Jayananda, Prabhupada disciple, who said, they asked him, "What is the success?" And he says, "Success means eat lots of prasadam and always sleep in the brahmacharya ashram." That's a success. At that time, there was only temples. And I thought that was a very actually deep statement. Always sleeping in brahmacharya ashram means this is where you live, It means you have to come for Mangalartis. You have to do service. You have to be always expecting that someone tells you, "Don't do this, don't do this, do this." You and Maya, This is not easy. Not easy. People who actually never lived in the ashram, they cannot understand what does it mean to get, as we call it, sauce from a temple president. Sauce? Meaning, some heavy, chastisement, let's use this word, but it's not the best word, but reprimand. Yesterday I had a little discussion with Subal Gopal Prabhu, and I exerted a little bit of this situation. And he had to stay humble, He could not say, "What are you just such, immediately punch me in the face." He just stayed humble. "Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhu." So this is an amazing thing. And sleeping in brahmacharya ashram also means that you have to chant your rounds. You have to wake up early in the morning. You sleep in brahmacharya ashram. As I said last night, there's this list of the devotees who come to Mangalarti and they put an F in front of the. What does that mean? That means he forgot to come to Mangalarti. How can you forget? That means you are sleeping. But they put it a nice way. This is in India. They put it polite. He forgot. At 4 o'clock in the morning, he just sleeps and forgot to come to Mangalarti. But so this is all together comes. What does it mean to live in the brahmacharya, to sleep in the brahmacharya ashram, and then to eat lots of prasadam. Prasadam is so important in Krishna consciousness. This is just extraordinarily important thing. Prasadam, because prasadam is you can say, of course, kirtan also, but prasadam is the immediate sense gratification, authorized sense gratification that we have. You may be, fried, as we say it, I had once one devotee distributing books in New York, and New York City is very difficult for book distribution. The city itself will grind you. Just city, buildings, and not even people, just city itself is so heavy. especially in times like this, wind. In winter time, there's some kind of wind between the buildings. It's just a whoosh, and it's cold, like it goes to your bones, and you're standing there, excuse me, and there are millions of people walking, you know. And so sometimes it's difficult. So this devout brahmachari had a difficult time, so he called me and he said, I want to, I have, and he started crying, actually cried, I don't know. Sankirtan devotees sometimes cry, you know, as I said, you know, although they're toughest, you know, but sometimes it's difficult. So I was thinking, what should I do now? So I just remember, this is what I also said yesterday, when you're in difficulty, or when it's a difficult situation, you take shelter of one of the two bags. You know. Either you take shelter of the bead bag, or take shelter of the sleeping bag. You have to be expert which bag you take shelter of, you know. So, but before taking shelter of bag, prasadam. So I thought, this is the formula. So we went back to the temple together, and he was like very despondent, and I said, don't worry, everything is going to be fine. Let's go to the kitchen. So we went to the kitchen, big plate of prasadam, and said, eat it all. So he ate. Finished the prasadam, and I said, now, take shelter of the sleeping bag. You know, 1 hour. So he went, slept 1 hour, he woke up, I woke him up. I said, you feel better? He said, yes, let's go back together. Sankirtan. We went to the Wall Street. Wall Street is like all the business people. You know. This was at that time my favorite place. Huh? Yeah, all these heavy guys, investors, you know, like sharks. So you distribute books, and there's no, excuse me, sir, where are you from? This doesn't, you know, they don't have time for this. So you just said, excuse me, and he said, and he just looked at this, you have 30 seconds to tell me what is this about. You look at the watch, you know, many times happened like this. And you said, this is, and he said, okay, here, he gives you money. You don't tell him how much it costs. He just gives you money, you give him book, and he walks away. That was my favorite book distribution. It was like, no speaking, no mentoring, no, take it or not take it, Haribol, next, you know. So we went to this place, and he did really well. And then next, to the end of the day, he did over 30 books. So prasadam is the very, very important aspect of our devotional service. Imagine the feast. Imagine the festivals without prasadam. As we know, the Gorkishore Das Babaji, this famous statement, he said to his servant, today we'll have a big festival, you know, Janmashtami, and servant said, Maharaj, you know, we are poor, we are Babajis, you know, we live in the bank of the Ganga, how would we have a big festival? And Gorkishore Das Babaji said, we'll fast and chant the holy name of the Lord. Imagine in ISKCON we said, we'll fast today, it's a Gaur Punim, we'll fast and just chant the holy name, no feast in the evening. It will be very difficult. Very, very difficult. Govardhan, you know, no hill, you know, or Govardhan hill, we cannot eat anything. So prasadam is very, very important. So this are the Brahminical qualities. I go a little more. Detached, humble, and tolerant. Tolerant comes to them. Then, he must not envy anyone. We spoke about envy. They spoke about envy yesterday. And he must be expert in performing sacrifices and giving whatever he has in charity. So this is all Brahminical, you know. Sometimes we think Brahminical, we take second initiation so I can go on the altar, you know. This is not the only way, only reason why we should take second initiation Brahminical. We actually develop this quality, and actually one of the main qualities of a Brahmana is that he is educating. He's actually a teacher. This is what we have to teach people. This is also Brahminical quality, not only go on the altar. Then, he must be fixed in devotional service and expert in the knowledge of the Vedas. These are the 12 qualifications of a Brahmana. So, Brahmana must know the Vedas. I read some years ago this book called Charaka Samhita. You know Charaka Samhita? Any Ayurvedic doctor here? Yeah, he's a man. Charaka Samhita is, like a Bible of the Ayurveda. And in the introduction, who actually the Kaviraj, these doctors, the first thing, before they know anything, they have to know the philosophy, isn't it? You have to know the philosophy, because if you don't know philosophy, you will not know what is the body made of, how the body is, who created the body, who created the universe, because everything is connected. So the Kaviraj has to know the philosophy first. He has to know the Vedas. And then when two Kavrajas meet, they discuss philosophy. They first discuss philosophy. Then they talk about, the curing people or medicines or whatever. So these are all qualities of a Brahmana, and Prabhupada wanted to have a society of the Brahmanas. So this is us. We have to look through this and think like, oh my God, this one I cannot do, this one maybe I can do, and so on and so forth. But this is what Prabhupada wanted us. Prabhupada says, for the conclusion, a letter to, I think it was Rupanuga. At that time he was, I think, GBC. The GBC must be vigilant by following the regulatory principles and teach by ideal character the presidents of the temple. So meaning the GBCs have to be ideal themselves. They have to have these qualities. And then you cannot teach or give something that you don't have. So they have to be ideal character. Then they can teach the temple presidents. And the presidents, by their ideal character, must teach the others. And then, automatically, all members of the whole institution will be ideal to human society. So it's a teaching process. The big leaders, as we call it, big leaders, or Prabhupada call them big leaders. GBC, ideal character, they teach the temple presidents. Temple presidents teach by the ideal character to the temple devotees, and temple devotees by their ideal character teach the whole world. Then we can dictate the administrators or something to take hold of administration. Then we can actually preach to the whole world, this is how you should do. So Prabhupada wanted these temples to be, as he called it, oasis or the botschaft is embassies of the spiritual world. And that doesn't mean the temple itself, deity is there, you can do whatever. We have to be the botschafter, what is it, like ambassadors. Each devotee is an ambassador of the spiritual world. By showing the ideal character and by preaching with, first of all, character and then with words. That's, I think, enough for today. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If you would like to add anything, Prabhu?
Thank you for the class, especially because I don't know how many times you mentioned Srila Prabhupada, which I like to hear in a class. These qualities of the Brahmins, especially the austerity thing, but now it's Kali Yuga, and I can see us also about going at Vanaprastha stage, going to the forest, etc. Kali Yuga, it's
You'll get arrested if you go to...
We are the leftovers. We didn't make it in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwaka Yuga. We are like these tall boys at the school, and all the other students are this small, and he's 4 years older, and he has to do the exams 4 times, and he failed it. Yes. I want to say something else, but I forgot. Oh yes, about faith. I think you can't have faith if you don't experience something that Krishna knows what is happening, or some maybe mystical or maybe not even mystical things. Otherwise, how can you develop faith? You must have had some experiences that you trust, that you believe. Brahma 4 heads, okay. When I was 8 years old, I went to the Sunday school. And at one point they said, there was Adam and Eve, and he had 2 children, Cain and Abel. And Cain killed off Abel. And then he was banished. He got a mark on his head, and he was banished so that people could see that he had killed his brother. I hope it wasn't Tilak, but anyway. So I asked, there was a male and a female teacher. I asked, so where these all the people came from the city?
Exactly.
And they looked at each other, and he said, they couldn't answer. Then I didn't go anymore. So when I came to the temple, somewhere or other, accepted Krishna consciousness, but I accepted that Brahma had 4 heads and that Vishnu had 4 arms. I don't know why. I don't know if the mercy of the Lord, but then I had experiences, with Ganga water or with the holy name, that I really know it's working. At one point, a few years ago, whatever I was thinking was fulfilled. I had some crystals, and I think I should get something, and then I put the crystals in. And then my neighbor knocked on my door and said, "Can you use this?" It was the exactly thing I was looking for. Then I just came back from somewhere, and I was away 3 weeks old, and my palm tree last only 2 weeks without water, and he was like this, and I said, "Oh, I should get a new palm tree." So I went outside, and there was a palm tree with some dead leaves, but I just cut them off, and then I had a big palm tree again. And that happened, and then I thought, my God, I don't want to think anymore because I'm embarrassed, because, I don't want him to supply everything I think. But that happened just like for a few days, and then again, little things like that. I say that you complete faith, that he takes care. There's one little thing in the very beginning, when in 1980, so I was 7 years in the movement. I went to the Ganga in Varanasi. So there was a deity of Mother Ganga, and we went there for the puja, and then I went to the Ganga, and then I paid my obeisances. And although I didn't see stool lying in it, but the flower petals, etc. So I paid my obeisances, and then I took the water to my head, and I sipped it, and I went like, and I felt like I had a shower inside. So now, since then I've taken Chalamrita. I don't feel it anymore. So Krishna, because I'm a very doubting Thomas, I got taste from everything, from the holy name. Like when I was in 75, that was 2 years in the movement, my service was to take out the Harinam party. And I'm a professional singer, and if someone sings off key or plays off key, it hurts my ears. And so I went out with two persons. Matiji, who was very spaced out, she was washing the pots, and she said, it was German, and she says, "Everything is green." I don't know. And then a Belgian devotee who came, because at that time we accepted everyone in our movement, who came from a psychiatric or psychopath situation. I saw him going like this in a temple room, and later he jumped off the temple. Anyway, so they were behind me, and like, if someone is angry at you, you feel it, right? I feel it. So I felt that burning eyes of him in my back, and I go, "Oh gosh, people I wouldn't associate with. Oh, Krishna." And then it started to rain, and I said, "Oh, Krishna." Even now, if it's raining, I don't go out. Even if I have nothing to eat, I just eat whatever is left. And I said, "Oh, Krishna." And then, a little while further, we were on a crossing of the shopping street, and she was there, he was there, I was there. And we all had a big smile, and I was like this much away from the floor. I felt like I'm floating of ecstasy. And since then I've been in hundreds of not hundreds, but countless Vatiyatras with the Harinam Ruchi group, with Mahavishnu, Swami Lokanath Swami, Kadambakananath Swami, the best of singers. I never felt that bliss. And the reason was because I surrendered to everything what I normally wouldn't, rain, stupid people, or, like that. And so Krishna gave me in the beginning a very much taste, the same with Tulsi, this Tulsi plant. I didn't bow down for Tulsi for, a few weeks when I joined. I'm not bowing down for a plant, but somehow other, Anyway, so that happened to me, and you need to have some taste of experience that you really have. Yes, Krishna's God, when everything happens to me, he knows. I don't have to worry.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yes, Prabhu. So Balaram, you're next.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, she's yes.
Yes. I'd like to ask regarding the verse. The Dhruva Maharaj, he was supposed to be the next emperor because his mother, she was the first wife of Maharaj Tanapat, and in this situation he was being deprived of his rightful legacy of having the kingdom and the position of being the emperor, and his father didn't react. So he got angry, but I think he was right to become angry because he was acting as a child. He was also deprived of having emotional exchange with his father, sitting on his lap, and he was also being, we could say, like being taken away or stolen his rightful legacy of having the kingdom. So, what would you think that he should react it? Not the way he was, because I think he reacted right. He left. He was offended. He left his father's palace. He went to his mother. So he was acting like a perfect child, perfect kshatriya. So what do you think that what would be the other way to react?
There's no other way. He's a kshatriya. There's no. Now he's supposed to be Trinada. He's a kshatriya. There's no Trinada in the kshatriya world. And he was a child. I don't think he knew that he's the rightful owner of the next heir or whatever. It's just, as myself, sometimes I overreact really bad way. There's some kind of a darkness overcomes me. And somehow chest, as we know from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Shiva is actually this anger, and he resides in the chest in the form of anger. And so this anger just fills up the chest, and you're just bursting, out of anger. So he didn't do anything wrong in that sense, because he's a kshatriya. Kshatriyas are allowed to be angry, you can say. But he did wrong, not wrong, but in the sense that he did this situation triggered in him this next situation that he actually become a devotee. So that this is the point of this story. Not that he should have been humble or he reacted as he reacted. It's just this reaction and this situation brought him to the forest to find Vishnu. This is actually the gist of this. That what I kind of saw, as again this religious conversion. That we all have at one point. That somebody has a nice point, somebody has a not nice point, somebody is kicked out on the street, whatever. Vidura was offended by Duryodhana. Say, you are son of Shudrani, get out of here. This is a heavy. So he was also kshatriya, also bleeding heavily. But then, as soon as he left, he realized, thank you. This is actually Krishna's arrangement. So this is what it is. I don't think Dhruva is Dhruva, he's a boy. Yes. Yes, he's a boy. That's all, Yeah. Yeah. He's not even a boy, he's a child, exactly. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah,
is that, I don't know, is that...
He's asking you, are you?
I said, if that's satisfying, I don't know if that's satisfying somewhat, at least.
So his father, his father was supposed to say something, as he was the head of the family and the head of the kingdom. He should have said something to his wife.
He should definitely said something.
But he didn't do anything. He didn't react. So that made
makes
Dhruva
you more
Maharaj
angry.
even more angry because
Exactly.
then he realized his father actually is he likes his another mother more than himself. So that even make him even more angry.
The children are very selfish sometimes.
Yeah.
You give them, you take boy. There's a new child comes. He wants to play and he takes his toy and he's like, wow, my toy, So this is like my throne. He doesn't know what throne is naturally, but when he saw this, and father doesn't say anything, so he didn't know what to do, so he just cried and went to his mother.
Yeah, and this situation reminded me of a similar story of Pandavas and the Kauravas, that Pandavas also being deprived of their rightful legacy of having the kingdom.
Yes.
And Dhritarashtra, he didn't say anything, he didn't react when he was supposed to, and he was silent because he liked Duryodhana more than he liked Pandava. So it reminded me, it's a similar situation.
Bhishma also didn't say anything. Anyways, there's a different story. Balaram Prabhu. Balaram Pran, actually.
You were talking about the qualities of the brahmanas, and I was wondering if there is a difference, first of all, between developing a quality of a brahmana and developing the nature of a brahmana, meaning in one's service and in one's attitude. Because, everybody agrees that the qualities of the brahmanas, whether it's truthfulness, compassion, kindness, and so on, should be developed by every human being. But still, there is this encouragement for varnashrama dharma among a community or a society, that everybody should act according to his nature.
Yes.
So
Prabhupada actually speaks about this either in subsequent verses or something like this. Prabhupada speaks that when we develop these good qualities of a Brahminical, develop these good Brahminical qualities, then we can actually preach to the rest of the people. And then, because the society needs a head, so therefore Prabhupada spoke or geared his preaching towards Brahminical culture. And then when the society has a head, then society can govern the Kshatriyas, the Shudras. Because some people are natural Shudras. You cannot help it. They can study so much, but they're Shudras. Therefore, Prabhupada gave to everybody to learn Brahminical culture. But not everybody will accept it. But some will. That's the point.
So is that Prabhupada's purpose? He wants to, whoever has a Brahmana nature, he wants to wake up that nature, and he doesn't want everybody in reality to be a Brahmana.
It's not that he doesn't want. You cannot be artificially anything. If you actually study later on, Prabhupada speaks about it, you cannot artificially change your nature, or you become, as Prabhupada says, your father is a Brahmana and automatically you become a Brahmana. This is not so. You have to develop qualities, but you cannot develop qualities unless you actually have your nature is Brahminical nature. But Prabhupada gave this to develop Brahminical qualities for everybody. So therefore again, temple means Brahminical qualities, that's all. There's no place really at this moment in this temple, Kshatriya to, what are you, kill you. And so by developing Brahminical qualities, some people who are Brahmanas, they will preach to the others who are Kshatriyas. Prabhupada says here, I don't want to now open now, but they will preach to the administrators. He said that we can preach to them how to actually be a proper administrator. It's a big topic, Mataji. This is the microphone.
Haribol. My question is regarding the detachment that you mentioned. So normally if you're detached in the material world, people might think that there's something wrong with you. Like when you have to involve yourself in businesses and then it's hard to be detached even if you have the mood for it and even if you truly want to go in that direction. So how do you deal with such
yes, the Prabhupada actually also speaks about this. He says that every activity in the material world is covered with some fault, just like the fire is covered with smoke. So he said, if you, if you're a kshatriya, you have some, you have to deal with some unwanted things. But particularly Prabhupada used this example of a vaishya. You have to sometimes deal, some shady business in order to stay in business. So, and if you walk around and you say I'm detached, that looks really really strange. So detachment has to be, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Manasa deho geho yo kichumur arpiluntu vapadananda kishore. My family, my home, my everything belongs to you. This is a very high level actually of detachment, you can say. Very high level. So in each stage of life there's a certain level of detachment. When you are young, when you are getting married, you cannot be detached. Young girl and young boy, we are detached. This is not possible. But later on stages when you're 50, then it's possible, very much. Then you say, okay, my wife is Sir Krishna Dasi and I'm Krishna Das. To come to this realization, and then so much so that the next stage is vanaprastha, and so much so the next stage is maybe sannyas, complete detachment. So in each time, in different times, there are different, you can say, levels of detachment. And particularly Grihastha ashram, I repeated it many times and I will repeat again. Grihastha ashram is not meant for self-realization. It's not meant, ashram itself, we can use it as Prabhupada says, if you, husband and wife preach, they can be like sannyasis and whatever, but ashram itself, you can never see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he got married, finally his door for self-realization opened, It's not, always is the opposite. So this ashram is not meant for self-realization. And we have to understand this. I'm in this ashram, and it's not the best, but I'll do my best. And maybe my activities are covered with smoke, my activities, I'm attached to certain things. You cannot say I'm detached from my child. I'm detached. You cannot say this. You have to, it's your duty to be attached to a child,
About that, like maybe we could try starting to be detached with like small things. So let's say something good happens to you and then you feel good about it. I mean, you want to feel good about it, but if you're in the mood for detachment, you're going to practice not to, so the people around you are going to be like, that's so weird, like don't you feel bad or don't you feel good about this or bad about this, and then you feel weird and then you go back into, Maya basically.
Yes, but there also you can choose different friends. You can be detached from your old friends and choose new friends who actually accept your detachment, who actually appreciate your detachment, who will say, wow, that's pretty cool. There's always, or, if you don't like this, I learned this when I was reading many years ago, I was reading some business books, management, leadership, sale, how do you actually do the salesman. And then one very famous at that time, he wrote, you have to gear everything towards success, And he said, if you have or your friends are dragging you down, why are you reading now, studying? Why don't you come drink beer with us? He said, just leave your friends. I was like, wow, this is so radical, But then he said, I did this. He said, not even that. He sold his house and left his neighborhood, went to a completely different city. And he chose the environment that fits to this kind of people. And he said, I surrounded myself with people who actually believe what I believe. So this is also what we do as Hare Krishna devotees. We have our parents who tell us this is sect and this is dangerous and you will see they will take all your money, whatever, And then you're like, maybe it's true, maybe. But then your friends tell you, like when I joined, I don't want to speak about all the details, but there was a people who were very much interested to tell me, you don't need to follow the principles. Why? Who is some, Indian thing, I remember this person told me, our bodies are not meant to follow four regular principles. We are from the West, we are not Indians. And I said, wow, this is actually true. And I followed the instructions, but this is not good. Then I thought, no. And then when I moved to the temple, I surrounded myself with 100 other people, 70 people living in the temple at that time. They were all very happy. Oh, welcome, And they said, yes, follow four regular principles is great. I was thinking, wow, this is great. I think the time is very much late. Yes, Prabhu.
There's one prince, 16 years old, and tomorrow he would have become crowned king. And then his father said, no, he can't. Fortunately, Lord Ramachandra. And only, the Lord himself can be that. He wasn't even angry as his father. He just said, is that your wish? I will go. And amazing. Only the Lord can do that like that. Lord Ramachandra ki Jai.
Prabhu, you want to ask something? The door left him out.
Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the lecture. I have similar question to Balaram Prans about Varnashrama, because my spiritual master is speaking a lot about Varnashrama, and my question is, should there be any place in ISKCON communities for other people with other nature than Brahmanical nature? Like, is it?
We have already. We it's not like we don't give them, you know, we are not us also. You know, we're all here trying to do something for Krishna. You know, but there's everybody, you know, there's everybody. Like I personally, you know, I'm not so much Brahminical person, you know. It's my nature. I like to, you know, read and study and this, but I'm not so, it's not my nature. But some people are very much, I remember I had one god brother who liked to fight, and he said, can I hurt somebody for Krishna, you know? I said, no, you know. No. He was a new bhakta, big and strong. He studied some martial arts, and he was really violent person, you know, before he joined, you know. But then he said, can I hurt somebody? I said, don't hurt anybody, you know. So there is place for everybody. But he used his passion by going out, you know, distributing books. I said, carry 70 books in your backpack, and he carries 70 books. It's a big backpack. I carried 70 books. It's a huge backpack, and he's like, yeah, you know. So this was his employing somehow Kshatriya nature. But you see, our society is very, very small. Very small. We are so tiny. Look at this, so tiny. And we have Simhachalam, one of the biggest temples in Europe. This is a very small temple. You go to Gujarat, you know, Ahmedabad, you know, this is like, you want this monster temple. It can fit thousands of people. Now we have in Mayapur, thousands of people. I think 10,000 people in one go that will enter the temple at the same time. So when our society grows much bigger than when our, you know, all this Bayan is a Hare Krishna devotee and Governor Bayer is very in Tilak, then we'll, you know, it will be different talks. You know, right now we are very small, and I think, you know, I don't want to say it's too early to talk about Varnashram, but it's a little bit too early. We are not even steady to stay in the movement, you know. We're not even steady to shed 16 rounds. You know, once we have like 100,000 people, then we can say, okay, yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, like one of the things my Guru Maharaj says is that in ISKCON we focus sometimes maybe too much on educating Brahmanas and not educating like other Varnas. And it's maybe possible that it's not a place for this in ISKCON today, and there should be like other institutions for educating other Varnas.
Yes, somebody tried this actually in America. Somebody actually tried to do, I think, Gurukula for Kshatriyas. I forgot, it was some years ago. You know, Gurukula for Kshatriyas and some other seminars for Kshatriyas, you know. You can start?
Yeah, I have some.
Sorry?
I have some plans.
Yeah. So no harm, you know. There's not like we are. There's no we actually. There's no such thing as we. This is another thing. You know, we are doing this. We are doing this. No, everybody can do whatever. You know, I'm not here. You know, somebody appointed me or pushed me. I came here because I chant Hare Krishna. And some devotees ask you wanna, you know. So we all coming from different backgrounds, and we interpret Krishna consciousness our own ways, and we all have our own geniuses. What are we going to do for Krishna? You know, Prabhu is, yesterday we saw a very artistically, you know, talented person. So he's not going to now take his sword, you know, and he's an artist person, you know. So you use your art in Krishna service. So if somebody has a Kshatriya, if somebody has a Vaishya abilities, you know, that can be also. But I'm just saying, at this moment, it's not like there is no place. There is place, but nobody's doing it. Nobody's doing it. There's place for everything. You know, nobody's stopping you to buy a big piece of land in Bayan here and build, you know, bow and arrow, target shooting, whatever. Nobody's stopping you, nobody right now. You can do anything. And then GBC will say, wow, this is wonderful. Yeah. As long as you have, 16 rounds, 4 equity principles and everything.
Yeah, the other thing maybe, I don't want to speak too much, but the other thing is that sometimes we see the Varnas only in this like old-fashioned way, like Kshatriya means sword and arrows and bows, but in outside society it's already present, as Srila Prabhupada also mentioned.
Administrators.
Like the managers are Kshatriyas and
yes.
So the education for devotees can be also done in this way, like managerial education for devotees.
They do it. I'm not on a GBC level, but I think they're doing this managerial. They have a managerial thing. This is not my thing.
Thank you very much for your answer.
Thank you. Yes. See, Makamas.
I just wanted to say that Urmila Mataji just published a book called Career Dharma, meaning, and then she very in-depth discusses with her co-author every varna and what it looks like, because we have these ideas of, okay, kshatriya means sword, vaishya means money, or whatever, but she goes into depth what each varna means and what the qualities are and what we can do and whatever. So
There it is.
it's a good book to have if you're interested in what it looks like today, and not just these four rough ideas of what
for a
it is.
modest price, just.
I don't know. It's on Amazon. I
Oh, you
think.
don't have it here?
No, unfortunately not.
Oh.
But it's. Yeah.
It's a wonderful book. I happen to have it. 50 copies by me. Thank you very much. I think it's already way too late. Anything or Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Jai. Nee,